Hello. Today I have a very special guest, Dr. Istvan Santha.
Oh, super.
Yes, did I
Yes,
pronounce it correctly?
super.
From Hungary, from Hungarian Academy of Sciences. And he is a very famous and amazing researcher studying Siberia and Siberian tribes. Can you tell me what tribes did you research?
Tribes. I had two social anthropological fieldworks. One is among Western Buryats, west side of Lake Baikal, and other is it is the shamanistic Buryats, not the Buddhist one. And other is this Trans-Baikal, which is East Buryatian Evenki, reindeer herder, hunter-gatherer.
And how many years did you live in Siberia?
Altogether, more than five. Probably. But it's two concrete years. 1 year, 2000 among Western Buryats, and 1 year with Tanya, my wife, also social anthropologist, in 2008 and 9 among Evenki.
So my interest is food, because my video blog is mainly about wild food. What kind of wild food do these two groups have now?
No, wild food. Evenki is very direct because they live in the forest.
But the reindeer, they herd reindeer, yeah. So it's
yeah,
not
but
really
it's
wild.
Not everybody. It is used to be the Soviet system destroyed this pattern practically. So there are free family living with reindeers in the forest permanently.
Okay.
But it's not the basic stuff. But they have a relationship with taiga, with the forest.
What apart from reindeer do they gather? What do they, apart from reindeer, what do they hunt or gather?
Gathering also, but also fishing, which is important, and hunting, and sometimes also gathering herbs, but it is much more, herbs is much more related to Chinese interest.
Okay, so for the Chinese people.
Chinese businessmen coming and say that you can give you a good money for collecting ginseng, or I don't know.
Okay, so what about Buryats?
Buryat could be interesting for you, maybe not for food directly, but they have shamanic stuff, which is herbs. So as yesterday I mentioned, there are the smoking stuff.
They smoked. What kind of plants do they smoke during the we talked about fir, the Siberian fir, the bark, yeah?
Yeah, bark is this picta, Karapicta, and also this timian.
Yes, like Timus. Okay.
And other is
blueberries.
Horse shit.
Dried
horse shit, and it is Buryat. And Evenki is klukwa.
Klukwa, oxycoccus, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the dried leaves.
Dried leaves of klukwa.
Klukwa, and it has a kind of, how to say, it's a
disinfecting properties.
Disinfecting of studying blood. But if you are hurt, so
stopping blood. So you mentioned that but that these people have a history of starvation. So yes. Don't they store food?
No, they have practically, for example, firewood. So they have no firewood. Practically, of course, it's a little bit. They have, but not too many, and it is not. Even they have a problem that we as Western people looking for dried food, but not that, because they need wet firewood.
Why?
Because practically the fire is continuous. It is
continuous,
not for So it is not for 1 hour, but all the day.
So it's better to have wet wood that burns slower.
Yeah, because you go to the forest for hunt, you make a fire, and coming back you need a fire. And the task is not to make a worm just now, a big worm, but it's all the day. All the day would be a fire at home.
So, did you experience starving yourself there with them?
Yeah, because we went to Evenki, to the forest, and of course it's always a problem. What about food? Because we need food, and the pattern is sharing everything. Tanya and me in 2008, it was 2009, February, we went Evenki, one of the three Evenki reindeer herder camp, and with another Evenki on horse, with food stuff. and practically it was, you can understand, there was 4 person there, 2 pairs,
Okay.
2 women, 2 men, and with the transport we went to them, 2 of them went out from the community. Practically we stayed 2 anthropologists, 2 Evenki.
Okay.
It was the community at that moment, and we had enormous food for weeks.
Okay.
But we practically diminished this stuff in 3 days,
Why?
because it was Evenki interest that we eat all the 3 days, all this food for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it's and they had also,
And do they gain weight there then?
they had game and everything.
No,
but-
do they gain weight? Do they
yeah, all it is not only Evenki, but the dogs, everybody start twice bigger, because
Okay.
3 days permanently eating and cooking and everything. So
Okay.
it means
And then what happened?
and then happened that once we recognized that we have no more food, practically, and beginning a kind of less and less portions. So
Okay.
every day, it was practically these 3 days, which could be 5. It meant that continuous all the day eating. It's
Okay.
nothing more. And then it was less frequented. It was three times, twice, and then once, and the portions less and less, and the dogs also less and less. That very quickly lost the weight. And then the question what to do in this situation.
Would they try to hunt?
Yeah, but the problem was that they became crazy one moment, and they hide the gun somewhere, and they never found it.
Did they drink alcohol during this starving?
So no,
No.
they don't know alcohol,
They
no
don't.
nothing. But when somebody, a stranger coming to the camp, it's always drinking alcohol.
Okay.
And in this moment, in this alcohol drinking, they lost the gun. So they had
Okay.
practically they had one gun, but not a good one. And then there was two main strategies what to do in this situation. One is going to the shop. Shop is 3 days in 2 meter snow with reindeers or by foot. And we made it. It's also happened. But the other strategy was that they had, as I mentioned, starving is a shamanic stuff.
Okay.
And it's not about singing or something, but the problem is making how it is accumulate food. So they have not skill to accumulate food as firewood, and but they have shamanic tree, and in the shaman we recognized that they went in a rich period when we came to the camp. They went to the shamanic tree and hang things in a such way that they covered with plastic, that not how to say, not
don't
be
spoil.
wet or something. But and we checked it. We went in a moment to the shamanic tree and checked what is it, and there was some cakes, bread, patron bull to the gun, speeches, tobacco, and then we put together what is it, and it was one day portion for a hunter.
Okay.
And
the shamanic tree.
Yeah, not many, but
and did they eat it?
Yes, of course, but it's happened that when there was already almost nothing, no food, they went to the shamanic tree and took out.
For one day.
You know, usually an anthropologist or anybody see shamanic tree when they present to the shamanic tree something. But we live together, we see that they took out these presents from the shamanic tree. Practically, it was something.
What
spared.
kind of tree is this?
It was a Yolka. It's a how it is.
Okay, spruce.
Yeah, it's a very simple. No any special. It was not birch, not this stuff, and not cedar, kedr.
Okay,
no this, and we took out especially. So women stayed in the campsite with some food. And we took this one portion stuff from the shamanic tree. It was also a ritual, took out, and went on ski.
Okay.
To the neighboring hut, hunting hut.
Okay.
Hunting hut?
Yeah.
Hunting hut. Hut.
Okay.
Cabin.
Yeah.
Hunting cabin.
Yeah.
Because they had the same one day portion there.
But these people also starved, no?
No, but there was nobody there.
Nobody
it is an empty cabin somewhere in the taiga in one day. And then we had a circle to go the next cabin.
Okay.
And going from one place to other, it was the hunting. So went to the next place, and on the road we look around what we can hunt, and go to the next place, then check.
So what did you hunt? What did you eventually?
Yeah, we didn't find anything, but it was
for how many weeks?
It was maybe 4 days, 5 days trip. But at the same time, women staying at the camp, the main camp, they went to fish.
Okay.
And they killed a bird. So we had 2-3 days something. And after these 2-3 days, we went to the shop. Shop is very interesting because they had a list what to buy. We documented all this stuff. The food for dogs, 2 kilograms, and all this stuff. We went to the shop. Of course, we had only money. They had nothing. And 2 men, after 3 days, coming to the village, to the shop, and I begin to see this list of things, and the guy said, "No, we need to buy only vodka."
Oh, good.
So we had
starving. They were starving, and they.
And what's happened?
This looks like Polish countryside.
We bought 10 bottles of vodka.
No.
2 person, we had 2 rucksacks. I tried to push. We bought some minimal food stuff, and then on the road we drank 4 bottles of vodka in the village. It was incredible. Then on the road we lost 2 bottles of vodka somewhere.
Oh.
And we searching for 1 or 2 days this vodka in the mud. And then coming back to the campsite, we had some, I can say 1 or 2 kilograms something, and 1 bottle of vodka. And it shared it, and the Evenki women were happy because we at least 1 bottle of vodka we took the campsite. And then the new cycle, beginning something new. But they had experiences, they were not worried. Not a moment. It was not stressed in a Western way. They had experiences, they were calm that, it's coming, it's after 2-3 weeks or...
But do you think it's a shamanic way? So did they do like rituals to get food or...
No, it was because Tanya also had a skill of fortune telling from, it's not fortune telling practically, how it is? the correct word in English, from cards.
From cards.
So you are in
Divination.
no, it's when you gadać.
No, I don't know.
When you have cards and you would like what's happening in the
Okay,
future.
yeah.
So you are in isolated world. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely isolated world. And
Did you have cards?
yeah, they had cards.
They had cards.
They had cards.
Okay.
And just because Tanya also, she's from Russian background, she also has this skill. And they, the two women, begin to communicate with spirits through
Okay.
cards.
Okay.
And all the question was when stranger visitors coming to the camp.
Yeah.
So, and it was the hope. They made a relationship as hope for future to find foodstuff.
Okay.
And it was kind of magic.
And do they eat blood of animals?
Of course,
Yeah.
course. Killing animals. The first is drinking.
Drink fresh blood or
Drink fresh, but not only blood, kidney. Eat pichonka and kidney.
Pichonka is
Liver.
liver. Okay.
Liver and kidney.
Raw. Yeah.
Raw. Absolutely raw.
Raw.
Absolutely raw. Maybe some spices. Maybe yeah, and that's next round. Spices, it means pepper, black pepper, and salt. That's all. Nothing more.
Okay. But do they have bread from the shop? Yeah.
No. It's
But
bread.
you said you like bread.
Making bread. They
Okay.
they bake.
They
bread.
get flour from the shop. Yeah.
Flour from the shop. It's
Okay.
And that was the stuff. But and yesterday we talked about your project.
The Wild Biome Project. Yeah. I'm eating
Yeah.
wild food at the moment. Day 12.
And spicy. And I thought, because you said that the aim of your project to eat things in an old way. It's as ancestors eat it. And but Western Buryats, and just switching from hunter gathering to small scale animal husbandry, they had rituals. They have shamanic rituals, and it's all about sacrifices the sheep.
Okay.
Mostly, sometimes horse, but sheep.
So they have sheep and horses, yeah?
Yeah, sheep, horses, and
Sheep.
goats also.
Okay.
And but the way they kill the animal, okay, there is a way how to kill it, but then boiling the body. You can make maybe post factus, I remember, small portions for everybody, but eating without any spices, even because it was the point that you can salt the meat.
Okay.
Not Buryat.
No
So,
salt,
no
nothing.
salt,
Why?
no onion, no chestnut,
No garlic, yeah.
nothing. It's simple boiling, and then and making. You can make even cutlet, farce, or as you eat the meat at home,
Yeah.
but without anything.
Why?
Because it is the old way, the same explanation as
The
you.
old way, the ancestral way.
Ancestors had no salt, even salt. So, and it was very hard
Okay.
to eat. But the contrast was interesting. That
Do they make animal sacrifices?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The sheep, yeah.
The sheep, horse. I also participated.
And
Horse,
the
goat.
evenki?
Evenki, no, because yes, sometimes, but I never seen to
Okay.
sacrifice reindeer. Reindeer is tricky because if you have only one chance to make food, it is in autumn. This domestic reindeer, which is the same as wild reindeer, so practically no differences. They are very attractive to the white reindeer male. So they simply use this attraction to kill the white one. So there is one particular moment when there is this sexual attraction.
Okay.
And then you can kill 6 reindeer, white one, and that is maybe enough for most of the season, the winter season, for
Okay.
one family.
And
So
how would they store the meat then? Outside in the cold, yeah.
yeah, of course. And
Do they have any predators, wolves or something that could come and eat it?
but
Bears?
they could, because froze the if it is frozen there is no smell.
Okay,
So
okay.
it is simple an ice.
Okay.
And no, it is not problem.
And how do they catch fish? Do they catch it in winter as well?
I don't know how catching. It is the only moment. It is the only moment when you can very attractively found meat.
No, I'm talking about the fish, fishing.
Fishing is a tricky thing. It could be, but you know you need to. It says probably Poland or Russia. You need to sit on the ice for hours and finding something. But it could happen. But it is of course it is also in the among the options.
Do people collect berries there in the forest?
Of course, they could, but mostly
What do they do with the berries?
they dry it on the sun.
Okay.
So
And then they put it into
and then maybe you can jam or something. So,
Okay.
but sugar is problem. So sugar is problem not always. So you need to go to the shop and buy. But the problem is that they have never money. So
Okay.
and then the next.
How do they get the money?
Yeah, and that is very interesting because we try to check who are the persons who could live in the forest. So it was for us the question that what abilities you have to acquire to live in the forest, and we found that all the people living in the forest injured invalid. So they have problem with leg or arm or eyes or something. So we think that Rambo is the best person living in the forest, but not true. All the persons has something which is lacking, because if you injured, if you have problem with body, you have money from the state.
You have the money.
You have the money from the state.
Okay.
And it is important when you go to the shop and you have money from the state. If it is a minimal, you can buy at least half of your money spare for food, and half you can buy vodka.
Okay.
And drink together with other persons.
So without this is difficult.
Without this, you cannot manage. You cannot manage.
No, I mean people did manage, but
need manage with disabilities.
Yeah.
So and the other important thing is the most important quality is woman, because forest not all the women could live in nomadic conditions.
Okay.
And the woman could be 60 years. It's very attractive for the man of 20, because no woman in the forest. So as you know, as Wild West, if you read the romance about Wild West and Golding Mine, it is the same situation.
Every woman is attractive.
Every woman cannot be woman without attraction.
Yeah, I always wondered, I went to these bushcraft gatherings, like 200 men, and sometimes 2 or 3 women would come to this, and everyone would like to talk to them, and I also wondered, there are these women looking for partners. They should go to these bushcraft gatherings, and there would be always men interested in them,
Yeah, and the problem is because it is the same situation in the village, because the woman Nadayeli already wouldn't hate Evenki man because of drinking. Okay. So it's all about drinking in the village. Same, probably more and less same with women, but woman has a choice to find a Russian or Ukrainian man
who drink less.
Drink less, maybe. But and then there is a problem between genders. So a difference that there are more Evenki men looking for very few Evenki women. also in the village, but in the forest, absolutely.
And what about other plants that they gather? Roots or bulbs or?
It is Chinese interest. I never seen for them something.
Because there are these records in Siberia of gathering sarana, wild lily.
Yeah,
have you heard about
yeah,
it?
Yeah, they could, and they have. It is not their interest. It is not for everyday life. If you, it is the most interesting thing. If you in the forest and there is a hunting hut, a cabin, you need to check the attic.
Wow.
What is stored there? It is not their interest. It is maybe some remaining part of the previous Chinese transport, or you
Okay.
can find this stuff. And the other, which could be interesting for you, not only herbs and stuff or fish, but the bear, because it is interest of Chinese. All this.
So they kill bears. The
yeah,
bear paw,
yeah, and of course, there is a ritual shamanic around it, but the main thing is to sell the leg arms and I don't know. So it is a huge business, and sometimes we made experience that there was no Chinese around, and it was in summer. We killed a bear. And what to do with this?
You killed a bear. You witnessed killing a bear?
Yeah, on several times.
Yeah.
At least
you eat it then?
Yeah, of course.
I tried it, the Estonian bear. It was delicious.
But it's always a question, and that's also could be interesting for you, that the bear is infected or not.
Okay.
And they check, so they cut the liver or a special part and check it, and then. And even there are some magic stuff that there are families probably who had bad experiences that never eat it.
Okay.
So no intention to eat bear. But others they found that very tasty. Mostly they protected against these problems through farce.
Making like a mincing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, and that is and boiling. But in this case, in this particular case, we had this how it is in English? Paw, and that's very important for Chinese. So, but they couldn't store it, protect, and we begin on the basis of karma. I win too. I read or Cooper. I tried. Oh wait, maybe we can boil it. They said that they had no experiences, and we boiled this stuff for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then it became a most delicious ham, a very, very good stuff. But then you understand what about leather? What about the construction of body of bear? It was as a dish. It's not burning. We finally dropped to the fire, but not. It's a kind of as a bakelit, a plita.
Okay.
It is not burning.
The bear skin doesn't burn. Yeah.
It's burning, and one moment. It is not about that a little bit and
Why?
Fluid. I don't know, but that's.
Do these people have any beliefs about bears, like shamanic?
Of course, it is bear and human is the same. So they don't make distinction between bear. They're looking for the quality of bear as a human. Even we can say that the problem with Evenki, especially in the settled, already half settled way of life, to move from winter regime to summer regime, and they are looking for a contact with bears, and bears waking up.
Okay.
From winter regime, it is the sign that man also could be active in a summer way. So bear is.
So when the bears come out, you can be active.
Absolutely.
Because in winter they just what? They just sit and.
in this subtle way, yeah. They not really active. Not in the forest. Forest they are active, but in a different way. So it is not.
So which month do they wake up there?
It could be April, May,
Okay.
or something.
And is in this region is there something called cheremsha, wild garlic?
Yeah.
Yeah, do they gather it?
Yeah, they gather it.
And what do they
make,
do with it?
it's also spicy.
Okay. And do they still have shamans like practicing?
Yeah, but if of course it's and you know it's here in Evenki context is the interesting thing that the word shaman is shaman, so it is taken.
Okay.
The word
For Tungus, is it
Tungus?
Tungus?
Evenki is the same.
Okay.
Tungus is the Tsarist term.
Okay.
Shaman Evenki is the Soviet term. And but there are other. Shaman practically means in Evenki language in different pronunciation a person who have knowledge.
Okay.
And but every Evenki could be shaman, so it is not a profession in a Western way. Now you can see this. Practically, who is the shaman is decided by the other people, not Evenki. So Buryats had a stereotype about Evenki, looking for the eldest male person and say, probably you shaman, and say, yes, I am shaman. It's maybe not true. And they perform. Shamanism is a contact with the outside world. So you can find vodka, tobacco, sheep. And then it could be also interesting for you. The shamanic ritual is accumulation food. And the same happening, as I mentioned, you need to diminish everything. So you can require from the neighboring people thousands of cigarettes.
Okay.
But in once, in one occasion, you need to diminish.
Destroy. So in the shamanic rituals, they destroy cigarettes.
What was the situation? I have a film about. So I was the member of the Evenki community. We requested enormous amount vodka, enormous amount cigarette, and the ritual place, the shamanic place, were other side of the river, but there were high water in the river, so it was no chance to cross the river to go to the secret place. And we sit down at the how to say edge of the river, making fire, and destroyed everything. So we were drunken. Blocks of cigarettes dropped to the fire.
Okay.
Without nothing. So they have no money, nothing. It's a poverty culture. So nothing, starving. But we had no chance to smoke all the cigarettes. We have no chance to drink all the alcohol.
Yeah.
So we need to drop everything to the fire. Everybody drunken. And next day in the morning, when high water, a little bit less level, they cross the river. Okay. And there was no any ritual other. Some few days later, neighboring Buryats coming to Evenki. Did you manage the ritual? Of course.
So the ritual was going to the holy place, just being there.
No, nobody was the ritual place. It was simple to cross the river. Ritual action was cross the river, and all this destroying was to make a quality to cross, which is impossible. So you make yourself free through this action. You had everything and then nothing.
The less you have,
cross,
the more free you are.
Yeah, and you practically the ritual, all of this shamanic stuff is a competition with the nature, and high water was the nature. And your task is not to be higher level in the hierarchy. You are never higher as the nature, but you are part of it. So you can compete with the nature element.
So do they have like holy forests or holy trees?
Yes, of course.
Forests or trees?
It could. Everything is holy. So it is not,
But special places at the shamanic tree.
Yeah, of course.
How does it look, the shamanic tree?
It's a very simple. They choose one. It could be a birch or a special, which is a one. But they are not totemistic, so they animistic. It means that what about the god of the river? God of the river is the spring, and there is nothing there. Spring is the spring.
Yeah.
And you can make a ritual at the spring, and that's all. So it's very simple, and all the secrets is that very few people speak Evenki, and it means if you speak Evenki, it is already a shamanic praying. You know, it's what about shamanic praying in Evenki? It means that we are praying in Evenki,
Okay.
and no, practically no content.
Okay.
And
So it's all in the mind, in the soul, not in the words. Yeah.
It's not. It's everything could be.
So what do they do with the shamanic tree? Because do they put
It's as I mentioned.
So they put their food.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what else? Skulls or ribbons or?
Of course, but it's not shamanic tree. It's another stuff that killing a bear, then the scalp store in a special way to see to the west and
to the what? To the west?
Scalp, the head of the
The
bear.
head of the bear
Bear.
you store somewhere.
Some special direction, and that's all to make a table for them and put them, and that's all in a special place. Hide little bit that not all the people, but not in the special place. It is the place of killing.
Okay.
So it is not a kind.
So the shamanic tree would have food hanging.
Food hanging only, nothing
Only,
more.
nothing else.
Maybe a table to sit down there, and but no more. No,
Food
nothing.
hanging like a Christmas tree, yeah.
Absolutely nothing more. And the same. If you see a hunting hat,
Yeah.
it is the same as shamanic tree because. And one more thing, yeah, I don't forget. Drinking tea or making firewood. That's a special thing because you are coming to the hunting hut which is empty and -50.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's simple. You are frozen. You go to the place. You had an effort. You are very tired.
Yeah.
And then or it is the coldest place.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Yeah.
And you need to manage very quickly warm drink. But it could be time. So always in the hunting and the most important, the firewood is ready.
Prepared to start the fire. Tea.
Living is not for spirit. Living is not for others. When you leave a hunting hut, it is for yourself.
Okay, you leave the firewood. And the tea, like what kind of tea do they drink?
It's tea. It could be blackberry.
Okay.
Tea or what?
Not blackberry.
Just in Hungary.
Raspberry, yeah. Red berries. Or...
What is in Hungarian?
In Russian?
Just I'm thinking the word.
So
it's smorodina.
Smorodina. Blackcurrant.
And especially special places on the mountains, so they looking for special stuffs, but they have, and you cook. You before leaving, you make a tea ready.
Okay.
And then when you come to the hunting hut, you need not to boil, but only warm.
Oh, so it's quicker.
It's a quicker.
But it won't spoil the tea?
No. It is frozen. Everything frozen.
Okay.
Ready to cook. You make a firewood very quick, and then you needn't boil.
Okay.
Because it's also time.
Yeah.
So there are some tricks in these lines. So how
let me just add the wood in the fire, and I'll bring your book and show it to the review. Where did I put it? Where did I put the book?
We need to find it.
Yes, here.
Oh, it is
your book, but I have to add the firewood as well.
It is not the most interesting because
yeah,
you have the book about probably you have or not.
About the cybernetic.
We have three.
Anthropology,
It is
no.
the third, but it's
So
not.
this is a book about Altai, different region.
It is a Hungarian researcher, a kind proto-anthropologist, we can say, after the Second World War, who had chance to go to Siberia, Altai, Sayan, Baikal region, and also Hövsgöl in Northern Mongolia. It is one region, and he went there. It's mostly Turkic people, local Turkic people, and after the Second World War, in the socialist context, he initiated the research on shamanism.
Yeah, but they killed shamans.
Yeah, it was the same time. You know, they collecting shamanic drums, burning them, and a Hungarian guy coming and saying, "No, it is your culture, it is your tradition, your history. You need to preserve."
And you followed his steps, yeah.
Yeah, we try to collect because he died he was young practically.
How did he die?
No, it was he
Naturally.
had and
so but you wrote more books. What were your books about?
Yeah.
What are the titles? You wrote it
one
with Tanya?
we wrote two books with Tanya. One is about culture contact. So it's the main
What's the title?
Culture Contact, Cybernetic Anthropology of Baikal region in Evenki land. It is the title. And it's about culture contact. So Evenki culture for us was contact with neighbors. So one is contact with Soviet state, this post-Soviet state. It is pretending. So Soviet people had a stereotype about Evenki, and Evenki know it, and you need to perform this stereotype, and they say, okay, you are free after that. So very important pokazucha
for the show. So wait until they become normal.
Show need to be quick.
Okay.
And then you are free to make what would you like. And the same with Buryats. Buryats try to push neighbors, try to push being a big shaman, and they say, okay, we can make it, but it is not the main thing. Main thing is go to forest and walking, hunting, and all. It is excitement. But all of this shamanic thing is which the stereotype about Evenki, it's not so. It was the first book. Second book is very interesting because we were.
What's the title?
Title is Evenki Microcosmos.
Okay.
Photographic analysis.
I remember. Just pictures.
Just pictures.
Pictures. I think visual anthropology is very important. I mean, we have these tools now. In the 19th century, there was less possibility of taking photos, especially in the 18th century.
It's especially film. It is kind of photographs, but making sense of film. It's taken from Bateson and Margaret Mead.
Yeah.
They made it during the Second World War. And that here is important because we pushed Evenki to make discussions come on, sit down. What is shamanism? These stupid questions. And they were absolutely against. They wouldn't like to discuss anything.
But maybe is it the thing that they killed the shamans, the Russians,
and
it's like the degenerated culture, they are like less in this world.
Yeah, but
in this culture.
Okay, but we are looking for Evenki, so it was on point that they had also not, hunter-gatherers, and Wolf wrote a book about Eric Wolf that every Indian nation has own history. But Evenki not care with history. They would like hunt.
Okay.
So not narration. We would like to do things, and narration is not doing. And then we try to push them and say, no, we wouldn't like to discuss anything. Come on, we can go to the forest together. Yeah. And then when you go to the forest, hunt together, and after that sitting in the hunting and they say, and still you try to initiate a discussion. I say, what kind of discussion? You had the same experience as us.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting point. And we understood that we need to make photos and films, and not to ask them, and to try to compile Evenki culture from photos and not from knowledge.
Yeah.
because knowledge is not important.
And not romanticized. Just
Not
show-
romanticized, just
Yeah.
show the life. And that was the second project, making photos. And now we're thinking about the third one, is how our perspective, anthropological perspective, changed because the war. So
Because then a lot of them go to the army, yeah. A lot
no,
of,
no, yeah,
not there.
that's true. But what? Because when we wrote about Evenki before the war, we exclude some tropics. We still romanticize, exotize
Okay.
to see these positive effects of the culture. But now, after the war, we begin to remember that things which was not.
What did you take out?
But they had experiences in Chechen war.
Okay.
But we never counted. Or there were dangerous situations when they, no, it is not the good word, they tried to kill us, but they were some.
They tried to kill you.
Happened, or tried to rape Tanya, or it's, and how we avoid it, and it was unpleasant for, but it was aggression and all the stuff. So, and we think about how to include in the picture how to manage a kind of different, how we can make more complex picture.
Do they speak Russian?
Yeah, of course they speak Russian.
They go to school, Russian school?
Of course,
Yeah.
Russian is the main language, or Buryat, and Evenki is maybe, I can say, 5%.
Okay.
No more. So, and always first step is organize a club, and I am the stupid student and try to make a local dialect, to try to acquire a local dialect. But that is the end, because nobody is interested in Evenki language. That is not the point.
How many Evenki are there?
Why? It is, it's 200 groups.
Okay.
All over. It's from Ural to Hokkaido.
Okay.
Not
But
Hokkaido, Sahalin.
they live in like cabins, yeah? Wooden cabins, or what sort of
There are some tents also, but very, very few wooden cabins. It's a wooden cabins.
They would live in tents as well, yeah?
Some very few, but there are. And but it's also could be a show, living in the tents, but tents still Soviet tents. It's a geological tents, so it is not
reindeer tent.
not a traditional Evenki. So I don't think it. And we also talk. It's maybe not interesting collecting herbs. How to die, not.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that old people, even living in the village, the last attempt is to die in an Evenki way.
Which is the Evenki way?
Evenki way, they took some reindeers with them. It's mostly individual persons, one person, and nomadize, go to the forest and losing there. And people, and simply
staying in the forest.
Staying in the forest, dying in the forest.
Yeah.
Without, we usually try to save the life.
Yeah.
But it is not their interest. They wouldn't like to save the life. They simply go to nowhere, go to the forest without returning. It is one-way ritual. It is going and losing. And alive persons, the relatives, of course, try to avoid this. So they close the village, that they couldn't, this old man couldn't disappear. But they make it, and after months or something, you can find the reindeers.
Okay.
Or a place. And that's a normal thing. But very interesting. So
this is like the preferred way.
All the other is that if you would like to make, if you would like to see a burial, a really Evenki burial, because Evenki mostly, it's in the air. They were make a cabin
in the air, on the tree.
Yeah, on the tree.
Like in Tibet.
Yeah, but it is forbidden. Soviet regime prohibited.
They would leave the dead body for the birds, or
yeah. And but I saw something which is similar. The hunting dogs. What about burial of hunting? Because people, you cannot manage it. Is very visible for others.
Yeah.
But the dogs is not the main topic. And because dog is why so important, because it is your friend.
Yeah.
You live together not with your wife, but with your dog. You know, it's very intimate relation, because
Yeah.
you all the day together with your dog. And dying, you can kill your dog, it's of course, and but the same emotions. And we went to the river and choose a place with the Evenki hunter, and it's dig. No, it was not dig. Practically put aside the dog, the body of dog, covered to make rituals, some food stuff, covered with kara barks,
Barks.
uh and but in that place where the river, when high tide, could
Okay.
take to the river and move to the north. So that they have something in this. And so what about burial?
Okay. Thank you for the conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.